What we're going to do here is we're just going to go through some definitions. First definition is that point A is what is called a relative or local minimum. So we use the word relative in this course pretty much exclusively, but when you get to calculus, they always call it a local. But in this course, we'll call it a relative min. So the reason it's a relative minimum or a relative min is because in its area, it is the lowest point on the graph. If we look at it up close, it's in this small snapshotty area. A is the lowest point. There are lower points on the graph. Point C is definitely lower than point A, but just in its area. So in the same way, point B is a relative or local maximum. So minimum means lowest, maximum means highest. So it's a relative or local maximum because in its area it is highest. It is not the highest point on the whole graph. If you go to the left on this function, it goes up forever. If you go to the right on this function, it goes up forever. So this function's highest point is up into infinity because it goes on forever. But in the little area, say between -1 and +1, point B is the highest. So that's why it's a relative maximum. So you always, when you're doing relative maxes and mins, you just kind of look to the left, look to the right. There's nothing else higher. Just in its little area, it is the highest. Point C is the lowest point on this whole graph. So it's a minimum because it's the lowest, but because it's the lowest on the whole graph, we call it either an absolute or a global minimum. So absolute is what we're going to say in this course. Sometimes in calculus classes, they'll say global. So what's really important to remember is that maximum and minimum points are always talking about y values. So a maximum is the highest y value. A minimum has to be the lowest y value. An x value is really just where the maximum or minimum occurs, but the highest or lowest is always a y value.